Sophie, thank you. Welcome to BBC London. Coming up on the programme, children in hospital after a fire tore through homes in North London. Eyewitnesses say neighbours helped residents escape from the burning building.
I was horrified because I knew that there were people in the flats, I knew there were residents in there, and I was just thinking, they need to get out.
Police are investigating the cause. Also on the programme, more jobs, more noise, bad for the planet? People living and working near Gatwick Airport react after a second runway is approved. And concerns over rising attacks on swans. A rescue centre wants dog walkers to know the rules to keep their animals as well as the birds safe. Plus, we'll be joined by two friends who turned a heartbreaking loss into a 200-mile mission to help other families. Thanks for joining us. I'm Laxmi Gopal. 3 children have been taken to hospital after a fire broke out this morning at a block of flats in Enfield. The entire roof and most of the second floor were on fire. It took around 70 firefighters to get it under control. Locals have praised the wider neighbourhood for their swift reaction and help. Police are investigating what caused it, and tonight the London Fire Brigade say they believe the fire may have been started deliberately. Frankie McCamley reports.
Woken to screams and shouts in the early hours of this morning. Some living nearby ran to help those inside. Others called the fire brigade.
I was horrified because I knew that there were people in the flats, I knew there were residents in there, and I was just thinking, they need to get out, you know, this is really bad. My really brave neighbours down the road there, they were actually over there banging on the doors.
14 people escaped the building as the fire tore through the roof, including 3 children who were taken to hospital with smoke inhalation. Their condition now deemed not life-threatening or life-changing.
Another neighbour just 2 doors down, she flung open her doors and invited everyone that had been evacuated from the flats and them, their children, and she was offering them teas, coffees, comfort. The fire brigade were in and out having hot drinks, and it was a real community spirit, which is wonderful, I think.
Some of the families I've been speaking to who lived inside this block of flats are too upset to come on camera. What they've said is they've lost absolutely everything. One mother said she even had to borrow shoes for her son because she carried him out in his pyjamas. And those living nearby tell me they're still coming to terms with what they saw.
It's so sad. We had our neighbours about 25 years we living together. Now nobody is there. You're shocked.
With the building deemed unsafe to enter by foot, firefighters had to finish putting out the fire from above using specialist machinery and cameras. Police have also declared the block of flats a crime scene, although no arrests have been made. As work begins to remove dangerous debris and an investigation into what happened here is underway. Frankie McCamley, BBC London.
Next this evening, as we've been hearing, the government has approved a second runway at Gatwick Airport. The plans involve moving the existing emergency runway 12 metres north and bringing it into regular use. It's set to cost £2.2 billion. Gatwick is already the busiest single runway airport in the world. The extra runway is expected to double the number of passengers to around 80 million a year. But the plans have been criticised by some local residents and environmental groups, and there are conditions attached to the approval. Our transport correspondent Tom Edwards explains.
A bigger, busier Gatwick today got the go-ahead. The reserve runway will be moved 12 metres north for takeoffs only, creating a second runway. Locals gave it a mixed response.
If it does, then we will move, definitely. Yeah, I'm retired now, so obviously we just want somewhere really where we can just get out easier. I don't think the infrastructure could, take it.
I know they've only got the one runway, but I suppose in this day and age you've got to look at it as the amount of people that are, going away on holiday and things. You do need You do need another one.
I think that's a good thing, because I used to work at the airport and it's quite crowded.
People just park everywhere and leave their cars for 2 to 3 weeks and just go on holiday and act like it doesn't affect us as residents.
Part of the plan's just over half of airport passengers will have to get there by public transport. Local homes will get soundproofing. And the use of the runway will only be allowed when certain criteria are met. But expansion is controversial and divisive.
Yeah, it's a cocktail. I mean, it's a really dirty cocktail that we're facing now with a new runway, because it is a new runway by the back door. Gatwick are not coming up with the goods to actually alleviate the issues that they create today, let alone with a new runway.
We've been waiting a long time for this. This is an injection of £1 billion, a year into the local economy, at a time when we've seen the UK wider economy pancake. There are 14,000 jobs that will reach out across the whole region, and that's critical, not just for now, but also for future generations and going forward.
Gatwick also shows the government's direction of travel. It also wants a third runway at Heathrow, a much bigger project. That will cost £49 billion and create 100,000 jobs. But Heathrow is just at the beginning of the planning process.
If it is the case, there's a second runway at Gatwick, it reinforces how ridiculous plans are for a third runway at Heathrow. What Heathrow needs to do is provide a better Heathrow rather than a bigger one.
Heathrow has submitted its planning application for a third runway, but you can expect legal challenges on both projects and whether expansion can happen within climate targets. Tom Edwards, BBC London.
Well, I'm joined now by the travel expert Simon Calder. Thanks for being with us, Simon. So, like buses, you wait ages and then 2 airport expansions come along at once. How necessary is the Heathrow one now that the Gatwick one is going ahead?
Really good question. And of course, 3 come along at the same time because Luton is planning dramatically to increase its numbers as well. But they won't be building an extra runway. In the letter that Heidi Alexander, the Transport Secretary, sent to Gatwick Airport, she said various things such as you've got to have more than half of passengers arriving by public transport. She also said what we're doing at Gatwick is not going to affect our decision on Heathrow. That's absolutely clear because, as anybody will know who's used Gatwick, it's very much a leisure-focused airport. EasyJet, by far the biggest airline there. EasyJet doesn't even fly in and out of Heathrow. And the idea is that this is a kind of relatively quick, easy and cheap solution to what is a totally dysfunctional capital in terms of aviation. More people fly in and out of London than any other city in the world, but we haven't built any new runways for decades. And as a result of that, well, people are simply unable to get the range of flights they might have. I'm talking here purely about market forces. If you suddenly almost double the number of passengers, as Gatwick wants to eventually, then that will cut fares, increase choice, which is great for travellers. But as we've been hearing, it's not brilliant for people who live in the area or indeed who are concerned about climate change.
And just in a sentence, if you would, Simon, what will it mean for the local economy?
Oh, it will be a huge boost, particularly for Crawley, which has long been dependent on Gatwick, and it will be bringing huge amounts of jobs and money into the local economy.
Simon Calder, travel expert, thank you for your time. Now, have a listen to these stark figures. New data shows that in the past decade, more than 800 people in London died waiting for an organ transplant. That's a reminder, isn't it, of how important organ donation is. The law has changed so that it's presumed people will donate their organs when they die unless they specifically opt out. But the NHS is urging people to sign the register to prevent uncertainty for loved ones. Our reporter Layla Hayes has been speaking to Eliza from Newham, who's waiting for a kidney.
So I do 10 hours of dialysis every night.
4 years ago,
When she was just 16, Eliza Jurison was diagnosed with a rare kidney condition. She now has daily dialysis and is on the waiting list for a kidney transplant.
I was told that I could potentially wait up to 5 years due to race and other factors as well. It changed my life a lot because I was very athletic. I loved playing football. I once had big dreams like around football, and everything had to come to a stop. My body started to completely shut down. You go to hospital, you don't see people your age, you don't feel like you're supposed to be there. I'm at an age where it's such a crucial time, like with my education. I want to go to university, and I've really had to put a hold on so many things because of my condition.
New figures show more than 800 people in London died while waiting for an organ transplant in the past decade. In the UK, 12,000 people lost their lives in the same period. And across the country, 8,000 patients are currently on the organ transplant waiting list.
People are dying because there are no donors to meet that demand, and that is the crux of it. So we just need to increase our donor numbers to get those transplants to the people that so desperately need them.
Eliza has been on the waiting list for a year.
I choose not to dwell on it too much. I don't like to think about it or, make decisions surrounding that. I choose at this point to just live my life as normal and hope and keep praying for that day to come.
More than 1,000 people in London are waiting for a transplant. And like Eliza, they're just hoping that the phone will ring. Layla Hayes, BBC London.
The Met Police are carrying out an internal investigation into whether they made mistakes over the vetting of hundreds of new recruits. Reports in The Guardian newspaper suggest the force will look at more than 300 cases, including whether potential criminal convictions have been missed. It's focusing on the period between 2016 and April 2023, during which there was a rapid recruitment drive under the previous government. The Liberal Democrat Party conference is taking place in the seaside town of Bournemouth, where our political editor Carl Mercer is following events. Now, for viewers of a sensitive disposition, I must warn you there's footage coming up of politicians doing karaoke. But first, I asked Carl about the reaction there to the announcement about Gatwick.
Well, the sun's going down on the second day of the Lib Dems conference here in Bournemouth, and I think it's fair to say they've been in fairly buoyant mood given their results in the general election last year. But also, I think, true to say, that they were caught somewhat on the hop by the government's announcement that they're going to back the second runway at Gatwick, something the Lib Dems, of course, don't want to happen. They're opposed to any redevelopment of airports and expansion in London and the South East. So I caught up with their Lords Transport spokesperson, Caroline Pidgeon, who, of course, used to be a London Assembly member. This is what she told me earlier.
I think this is such a bad decision by this government, given all the concerns about the environment, given the local communities who are going to experience so much more noise as a result of this. I think they need to go back to the drawing board. Lib Dems are against any airport expansion in London and the South East, and we need to be thinking about investing in public transport, not investing in airport expansion.
Yeah, another thing they've been talking about here over the conference over the last couple of days is policing. And of course, in London, there are plans to close some of the police front counters, reducing them to something like 12 in London instead of what was promised, which was going to be one in every borough. Now, the Lib Dems passed a motion yesterday saying, look, they will have one in every local authority. Not necessarily in a police station, perhaps in some council buildings or in libraries, things like that. But there were also concerns over how the announcement was handled by the Met and the Mayor. Let's have a listen.
So we found out at the same time as everybody else. It was quite a shock. We'd read Sadiq Khan's manifesto last year that said they were going to retain front office counters in all of the 32 London boroughs, but there was no warning about the closure of those counters. So it was a real shock and a bit of a kick in the guts when it actually came along, and the impact on our communities will really be quite serious.
Yeah, so it's not all serious here at conference. Aside from the politics, the policy, there was also a lot of partying. And last night there was something called the Communioke. Yes, it really is called that. Well, they get up give her one a tune, and there is some alcohol consumed, as you're about to see from 3 Lib Dem MPs in the capital, Sarah Olney, Paul Kohler and Luke Taylor. Yeah, they'll just be happy, won't they, that there's 4 years to go until the next election, so maybe people have time to forget.
Carl Messer, our political editor there. How do I follow that? Well, anyway, let's have a quick look at some of the day's other news now. Work on a new cycleway between Aldgate and Blackfriars has been paused until guidance on floating bus stops is published. It's after concerns about the risks that these types of bus stops pose to visually impaired people. Fulham FC has been given permission to host major events in its stadium's new stand. Craven Cottage is now allowed events involving more than 500 people after the council's approval. The football club says it'll work to make sure noise and antisocial behaviour is managed appropriately. A builder has been cleared of burglary after a Banksy print valued at £270,000 was taken from a central London gallery in a daytime raid last year. James Love was accused of being the getaway driver for Larry Fraser, who pleaded guilty to burglary ahead of Mr. Love's trial. And there are more stories on your local BBC News website and on the BBC News app. A swan rescue centre in London is asking dog walkers to keep their pets under control after 3 swans were attacked and killed in the past year. Shepperton Swan Sanctuary says more needs to be done to educate owners. Our reporter Alice Bandacravi has more on this. And just to say, there are pictures of injured swans from the beginning, which you might find upsetting.
This is the A&E ward where injured birds are first brought into the Shepperton Swan Sanctuary. Some of these have been attacked by dogs and are lucky to have survived. This one was brought in today and will now be under close supervision. These birds are convalescing, not yet well enough to go outside.
So a dog has, bitten that swan there and it's got a big hole?
Yep, it's been chased and grabbed from under the wing. So it's got would have had quite a substantial open wound.
And sadly, even if they do survive the attack, they don't always make it.
That looks like a terrible injury.
Yeah, this one was attacked by a dog in London. Got rescued locally, come to the sanctuary. The vet and the team did an amazing job on the wound, but this one unfortunately did pass away 2 days later. This is one that passed away of shock.
It's illegal to allow a dog to chase or injure water birds, and yet many dog owners are unaware of the law.
Various legislations and acts actually does say you should keep your dogs on lead in areas where there are waterfowl, and you will be prosecuted if you're seen chasing, harassing, scaring, injuring and killing birds or any wildlife in this country.
Danny says the law is also there to protect dogs.
If you allow your dog to go into a lake, into a river, chasing a swan, you're potentially putting it at risk. Swans are very dangerous animals. They're very big, they're very powerful. They can weigh up to 15 kilograms. So if your dog can't touch the bottom of the water they're in, there's a high chance that they could be drowned.
These rescued swans have a good chance of survival, even if they're not able to return to the wild.
They're absolutely beautiful animals, really are. I love them, you know, they're so intelligent, they've got amazing individual personalities.
Have they?
Yeah, they are, you know, they're naughty, they're inquisitive, they've got a lot to deal with. They really have got a lot to deal with, you know, predation and then human interaction, dog attacks, catapult crime, poaching, you know, they have such a difficult life.
The RSPCA says the onus is on dog owners to be responsible with their pets so that other wildlife can survive and thrive. Alice Bandacravi, BBC London, in Shepperton.
Such beautiful birds. Now, this past week has been a very active one for 2 London friends who've completed not 1 but 7 marathons in 7 days. Michael Brennan and William Richards ran 200 miles from London to North Wales, and it was for a special cause in memory of Michael's daughter, who died after being born 5 months premature. Well, the pair are fundraising to help families who've experienced baby loss, including at King's College Hospital. And I'm pleased to say Michael and William join me now. Welcome to you both. I've got to ask, having completed it just yesterday, how are you feeling?
Very sore.
Yeah, very sore indeed.
What was the most challenging thing about completing such a mammoth challenge?
I think just the operations of getting us through it, the body itself, sort of by day 2, realising this is a very long way, and the 2 miles of hills at the end with the emotion of what was to come at the end.
Yeah, of course. Well, and just to pick up on that, Michael, the crossing of the finish line was on what would have been your daughter's due date had she not been premature. How did that feel?
Lots of emotions. We've completed a huge challenge. We've raised £16,000 already for the King's College Hospital Maternity Bereavement Fund. And so at the end of it, being able to scatter her ashes was a way of me being able to let go, complete and finish over the line, which was very, very important for me.
And can you remember what was going through your head at the time?
Apart from the pain, both physically, a lot of emotion, just thinking that very sadly I won't be able to do this with my daughter that sadly passed away, but something I'm very, very proud of, that friends, amazing family, all around us at the end was just the perfect way to honour her.
Yeah, and William, that is an image of the two of you on the last day. So just talk us through what you were feeling there.
Other than utter pain, it was, I think, psychologically quite tough at the end. You sort of accept that your body's going to get you through it, but it's more mentally trying to get to the end, which we did, thankfully.
Well, yes. And how does it feel knowing that you've done so much for such a good cause?
Oh, it feels wonderful, really, really good cause, because I know how much pain Mike went through it and how many other parents went through it, so I feel great to have been able to participate in it.
What's next? Apart from putting your feet up and in a cold bucket of ice.
I owe Will a challenge, maybe 7. But I think continuing to try and hit our target fund of £20,000. We started with 5, we're now looking to get to 20. We've got a Just Giving a page with Michael Brennan and Baby Brennan, and hopefully we can get that target for King's College Hospital.
Oh, well, thank you both so much for coming in to speak to us, and well done, you know, well deserved after what you've endured. And thank you in particular, Michael, as well, for being able to talk about something that must have been so difficult.
Thank you for having us raise the
Thank you both. Now, amazing fundraising from Michael and William there. And of course, so many people do amazing work across London for the benefit of their communities. And our Make a Difference Awards, which take place this week, offer a chance to highlight some of it. And today, it's time to shine a spotlight on 10 Windsor Walk. They're finalists in the community group category, and they run a therapeutic play group for refugees and asylum seekers. And we've been finding out a little bit more about their work.
My name is Teresa Sarmiento. I'm a parent-infant psychotherapist, and we are at 10 Windsor Walk during a therapeutic playgroup for families of refugee and asylum seeking families.
I am Fatima Martinez del Solar. I am a psychoanalyst. People using the service are reached by us from the asylum seeker and refugees organizations. When you have had a lot of trauma, this experience is very difficult to process. So when we have a space where you are with someone that is interested in you, you will be able to communicate with trust that this person is going to be respectful of your pain, of your hurt, of the things that you've gone through. The stories that we hear are very traumatizing stories. People coming from countries that are in war, or people having lost family members. Sometimes the staff are the first ones to hear, because this person has never told anyone things about their story. What we want is to provide a safe space where people can talk, can reflect, and once that is talked about, then the mom will have more space to think about their child, because they've had a space, someone interested in their stories. It's an individual story that we are protecting so that the mom can have an ordinary relationship with her baby.
My name is Swad. I came from Sierra Leone. It's a safe place for me. It's a comfort zone for me. And as soon as I came inside the gates, I leave all my fears behind.
My name is Mahbouba. I'm from Iran. This place, it's like my comfort of zone. when I get tired of parenting, of life, this place is an amazing place to just get relaxed, to have peace.
Some parents have described it as their family. So this feels like a family. Other mothers helping each other is what they might have had in their own countries had they kind of not had to flee the countries.
Just one example of the incredible work being done in the community that we've been showcasing. Now it's time to have a look at the weather forecast. Kate Kinsella's here. Kate, confession, I got my big coat out, big winter coat out. I couldn't hold it off.
It was chilly today, but it could get chillier.
You look disappointed.
Not necessarily this week, but it could get chillier. It wasn't that bad, really. Good evening. We have had a fairly pleasant start to the week, despite what Luxmi says. It was fairly chilly, though, first thing this morning. It has been quite chilly today. Whether it's worthy of a winter coat, I'm not quite sure yet. But we have had plenty of sunshine. As you can see here, just a little bit of cloud bubbling up as we've headed through the day. We did actually have 1 or 2 showers, very short-lived, down towards the south and east, but most places stayed dry. Now, we're going to be clear into the evening as well. We've had a fairly brisk northerly wind. That's what's made it feel chilly today. It will fall a bit lighter overnight. We lose the cloud. Those showers are retreating down towards the channel, so it's dry and it's clear. The wind is a bit lighter. There is a small chance of maybe 1 or 2 mist patches by dawn, but not widespread. Minimum temperature could actually drop down to 3 Celsius, so a chilly night, especially away from central London. It's single figures across the board. Bright start tomorrow, but we will see cloud moving in. The wind just starts to veer from the northeast tomorrow. Again, there's a chance of a shower. It's kind of staying in that southeast quarter, but there could be 1 or 2. Still some sunny spells tomorrow. Temperatures, again, very similar to today, around 16 Celsius. We got up to 17 earlier on at St James's Park. Now, the high pressure, which is bringing these settled conditions, stays with us as we head into Wednesday. So it is going to stay largely dry, clear. We will still get this cloud feeding in on the northeasterly breeze, and the temperature as we head through the course of Wednesday staying very similar. Slightly warmer, though, getting up to around 17 or 18 Celsius. Now, it is going to stay very settled as we head right the way through to the end of the week. You can see we've still got that chill in the air. We've still got that northerly breeze. Temperature staying around 18 Celsius right up until Friday. Luxmi.
Kate, thank you. I'll have to try and regain your respect for me after that. Now, we've talked Heathrow Airport, Gatwick Airport, we've even mentioned Luton Airport. Well, on our social media pages, you can find out why Stansted Airport is the preferred choice for US presidents. I'll be back at 10:30. Speak to you then.